Hi everyone, this is Patricia Lemon. I'm co-author of the Surviving Eating blog on the HealthyPlace.com. So today I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind for the last little while, a few little amount of weeks by now. As you know, I've been in recovery for the last 5 years. I consider myself successfully recovered. And if you've read my past posts of this last season of spring and summer, you'll realize that I went through a particularly tough time in the spring. I lost someone in my family that was very close to me, and it was actually really hard. And it triggered some stuff in me, and I had to. It was a good opportunity to explore certain things that I thought were resolved, and they weren't completely fully because certain events just triggered how how I was dealing with the fact that I'm an eating disorder survivor. And so in that experience, I'll use that to share with you the fact that I'm not perfect, and I'm certainly not someone who doesn't have the struggles of my own at times. And so this exercise that I had done a few years ago that had given great results is something that was also great recently and helped so much. And I did that with my therapist and also on my own quite a bit. Quite often I used it. So it's an exercise of forgiving yourself. Oftentimes we think of the feeling of not the feeling, but the concept of forgiveness. We think about it in terms of how it relates to others, and we have to forgive this person, that person. But very often, in the case of an eating disorder, in my case at least, I realized that I had to forgive myself for the fact that I had this condition to begin with a few years ago, many years ago by now, that developed. And it's no one's fault, and it certainly wasn't mine or my parents. It just happened. It's a mental illness, and it happened. And I had to deal with it, and so did everyone around me because it's not something you go through alone. And so in my case, what I can tell you is that when I started to explore the need to forgive myself because I couldn't get past the point of just acceptance without being able to forgive, I started to feel a lot better once I was able to do that exercise and just really fully commit to it. So the first step is really to just witness your feelings, witness how you feel, and not just give a very general label like I feel tired, I feel fat, I feel depressed, I feel upset. What's behind it? I feel upset because someone called me shallow because I think about my looks, or I feel upset because I overate, or I didn't overexercise the way that I usually do, or I feel stupid, or I feel like I don't measure up, like I was going to look a certain way and I didn't, and I feel like a failure. So really go with the whole scenario and why do you feel like this? What's behind it? And sometimes you'll even realize that even a song, comes to mind when you feel a certain feeling that you've labeled yourself with, or a name that you've labeled yourself with. So that's number one, witness the whole picture. And then an amazing thing will happen when you witness that and you do that exercise. And if you do it in writing, it'll be very clear on paper, once you've journaled, that uh, that you'll start to have compassion for yourself because you'll start to realize, well, this is my story. I've been telling myself this story, and it's really awful. It's an awful feeling that it brings about, and I want to get out of it. So the great thing about that first step is that you'll want to get better. And if you're not completely 100% committed to getting better, well, you'll at least have opened that door that you're allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to feel better and to break away from that feeling. The second step is to really just learn how to let the feelings go. That was very hard for me. That was, I was, yeah, I never thought that I was going to be able to actually commit and understand and get to that point, letting go of a feeling. And the image of letting go of a feeling for me, I really worked with a visual image of just holding something very tight and letting it go, like a feather, a piece of paper, a pebble, and just throwing it away. And it doesn't mean that the feeling doesn't exist anymore. What it means is that it no longer has, a hold on me. And that's the important thing that you should focus on, that you'll never fully be able to completely, not feel a certain way, but it shouldn't ruin the rest of your life. And the exercise in letting it go and kind of watching that feeling leave your body and leave that piece of paper now that you've written it down, that's what it will help you with. It will help you with, allowing someone else, the universe, whatever you want it to be, to have that feeling, but not you. And it doesn't mean it'll resolve everything. It doesn't mean that you'll feel better instantly. But your heart will have opened up to the possibility that maybe you felt upset and it was because of XYZ. And you don't have to feel it, for X amount of days or X period of time. You could just allow yourself to fully feel it and then just release it, and let it go, in the sense that it no longer has a hold on you. So that's what I kind of encourage you to do. I hope that it was inspiring maybe for you to try. You can come up with ideas and images of your own. And I certainly welcome you to write comments and leave me, little notes. I always appreciate, and I make a big effort to respond as quickly as I can. And so I hope that it's helpful to you. And don't hesitate in sharing your stories with me, because I always appreciate it.